Good morning. It's cold this morning, really cold. I went with just a hoodie and looked at the temperature and it showed 51 degrees and I thought, yeah, the sun's out, it's gonna be warm, it's not a problem. No, it's cold. Anyway, I am going to go to a new location on a walk today. Normally I like to walk in the quiet neighborhoods, away from traffic. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. I'm gonna walk where there's some traffic and some potentially unsavory conditions to try to get to a different neighborhood. So let's see how this goes. Not my idea of a nice quiet walk. To the right of me, on the other side of this sound wall, it's the 101 freeway, which there's an overpass, a pedestrian overpass that I'm gonna go across and see what's on the other side. I have to cross Ventura Boulevard also, which is on the other side of the 101 freeway. So we'll see what we get here. I may not want to do this walk again after this. Okay, there's the pedestrian overpass. And we're crossing over the 101 freeway. Who knows? Looking eastbound. Looking westbound. Oh, Jesus. So glad I don't have to commute anymore. Let's see where this takes us. This is not a very savory part of the neighborhood. There's a lot of multifamily housing and new housing going up. And as you can see, a lot of debris. Let's see where this takes us. So here's a little tidbit of information. The mighty Ventura Boulevard is directly in front of us. And here is an old air raid siren. These are scattered about all over Los Angeles. There's actually a website that I stumbled across talking about these. They're everywhere. At a certain point in time, probably during the early part of the Cold War, Los Angeles put up all of these air raid sirens to, of course, warn of an impending nuclear attack from Russia, or excuse me, the USSR at the time, the Soviet Union. And these, they don't work anymore, obviously, but these remnants of the Cold War are still around. And if you keep your eyes open, you can find them. It's a pretty cool little history of Los Angeles. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That Irish pub right there, J.J. Sullivan's, is the oldest bar in Woodland Hills. I think it's been there since 1959, I think, somewhere around there. Anyway, great little pub. Okay, only 1 block north of Ventura Boulevard, and we're back into a residential neighborhood again. This is an area called Walnut Acres, and it is on the floor of the valley in the West San Fernando Valley, and it consists of home sites that are rather large. I think they may be even as large as a full acre, and a lot of the houses set way back from the street. So we're gonna walk along and maybe check some of these. I don't know how I'm gonna go. I've never walked this neighborhood before. So let's just see. Nice little neighborhood. On this particular street, the houses aren't set that far back. I think I need to go down one of the side streets to really see it. And the thing about this area too is that you know, a lot of the lots are worth more than the houses on them. So builders have come in and they've torn down the old houses and built McMansions, is what we call them. So they'll end up with these great big huge houses that are completely out of place in a nice little neighborhood. It's kind of sad to see. So I think we'll go up a little bit further and then circle back around maybe. I don't know. This is exciting. And that's a nice big house. And obviously the people who live there, they don't care much for what's going on in the country right now. You don't often see that. That was a huge house. Yeah, you know, at least in my neighborhood, things, I'm just going to say that they're not super politically charged. There's not a lot of display of party preference one way or the other. So I kind of appreciate that. I know most of my neighbors which way they lean, so that's a good thing. But just like all across the United States, you never know. Well, I was kind of hoping as I went down this side street that these would be some of the bigger lots so that I could give you an example of how big these are. But these don't appear to be quite that large. But you know, they're still much bigger than my lot. My lot's a 1/4 acre, and these are easily twice that size. Gosh, what I could do with trees in some of these lots. Oh my goodness. There's just lawns and everything. I'd tear those lawns out and plant fruit trees. Yeah. It's an example of one of those mini mansions that I was talking about. McMansion. Just so out of place in this neighborhood. And then you have little houses right next door. It's kind of crazy. But that's Los Angeles for you. A lot of money in real estate. Even in this era with super high interest rates, well, I shouldn't say super high, but higher interest rates, there's still a lot of houses for sale. And man, I mean, you can make a fortune on real estate here in Los Angeles. We bought 22 years ago, and our house shows up on Zillow and Redfin and all those. Hi, pup. Oh, look at that. Three big dogs. Shows up on Zillow and such about, not quite, but almost 3 times what we paid for it. Of course, you know, it's all, I couldn't afford to sell it and move somewhere else here in Southern California because I just, you know, I couldn't afford the mortgage payments. My mortgage payment is less than my son's rent payment. It's horrible. So here's an example of one of the waterways here in Los Angeles. There are washes scattered all through Los Angeles. And this time of year, there's not much water in them. I don't know if you can see the little bit of water down there. But many, many years ago, the Army Corps of Engineers came in and they cemented in all of the rivers and washes here in Southern California after a huge flood in, I think it was 1939, when the Los Angeles River, it was after a period of very intense rainfall, and the Los Angeles River flooded over its banks, and a bunch of people were killed, unfortunately. There's lots of old pictures of cars floating down the roads and everything. A big swath of Los Angeles and the surrounding communities were completely flooded. And it was shortly after then that the Los Angeles, or not the Los Angeles, but the local Army Corps of Engineers came in and they cemented everything up. So now what happens is all of this water, rather than simply soaking into the ground and providing groundwater, it just rushes away to, in this case, the Los Angeles River, and then it just washes into the ocean, and that's it. A big movement afoot to try to tear out all of the concrete channels and put it back to a natural state so that the water can soak in, so that some of the animals can begin coming back to the waterways. But you know, now there's just so much population and everything is so built up here that you know, you really can't take the chance of flooding out a whole bunch of people. It is what it is. So I'm not 100% certain, but I believe that is a lemon-scented gum tree native to Australia. And of course, Australia and Southern California have similar climates. So you can grow stuff here that is native to there. Super cool skin. Look how smooth it is. You know, I'm not so sure I'll be coming back this way again. Just too much traffic. And I haven't seen much as far as good flora and fauna. Not much I can talk about. And now I'm gonna walk along the freeway, well, actually Ventura Boulevard, until I can get to an overpass and get back into my neighborhood. Yeah, too much traffic, I don't like it. There's some California gas prices for you. We're always used to paying the highest gas prices, well, pretty much. I mean, unless you go off into far remote areas, which obviously are more expensive just because it's hard to get the supply out there. But we always pay highest gas taxes, which end up being highest gas prices in the nation because over the years, a lot of taxes have been applied for clean air and stuff like that, which Los Angeles is night and day different from what it used to be in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. If you go watch some old movies and old TV shows, you'll see what I mean. Everything is just so hazy and smoggy in those shows. It's crazy. But yeah, so they charge us extra for this special blend gas that they have for our pollution. And they also tie a whole bunch of other taxes to our gas prices. Yeah, happy day, right? There's too many damn people. I'm so happy to be back in my own neighborhood. Well, I mean, we gave it a shot, didn't we? And that's the most important thing, is give it a valiant effort to see if we enjoyed walking in different neighborhoods. But you know what? I do want to potentially drive to other neighborhoods and just kind of walk around and check things out. I think that would be a lot of fun. But to walk there, you know, I have to walk across the freeway and, well, not across the lanes themselves, but using a pedestrian overpass. But yeah, maybe we'll drive somewhere next time. Okay, this is a cool yard that I had to stop and take a moment to take some picture of. Beautiful flowers. And then check this tree out. Look at that. It's in full flower, and I have no idea what kind of tree this is. But that's a beautiful tree. This is one of my favorite yards. in previous seasons, they've had a lot of fruit in this front yard. I may have actually showed this before, but yeah, they had some passion fruit in there, and oh, stone fruit. That's a stone fruit tree of some sort, probably a plum. Yeah, I love this yard. They do a great job. See this hat I'm wearing? My son works for Monster Energy. Has for a little while now. Really proud of him. He's done a great job, not only with his work, but he's got himself a great little family. And he is the best dad ever. You know, my lovely bride and I, we were talking about that last night, how, you know, it is the greatest compliment to us to see what an amazing... I was saying before I was so rudely cut off by my workout app, reminding me that I was doing an outdoor workout. Well, duh, going for a walk. Anyway, I was saying one of the greatest compliments to my lovely bride and myself is the fact that our son is such a great father. And we love seeing that. Does he get frustrated sometimes? Of course, we all do and did. But he is just a great dad. And his lovely bride, we couldn't ask for a better daughter-in-law. She is an amazing mom and truly a wonderful addition to our family. Yeah, I was just thinking about that, so I thought I would share. After having walked on the other side of the freeway, I know why we moved into our little neighborhood. It's so much quieter. You can hear the birds. It's just a little bit nicer. Well, I'm heading up the last hill towards home. And y'all be good humans. See you next time.